Focused on quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Welcome to Sharing Our Cultures. This is the place where you get to meet amazing individuals from around the world who are making a difference in their community. Joining me today is Dr. Selemani, and he's a psychiatrist at the Central Regional Health Authority. Welcome back to Sharing Our Cultures. Joining me in conversation today is Dr. Salumu Selemani, and he is a psychiatrist with the Central Regional Health Authority. Welcome to Sharing Our Cultures, sir.
Thank you for welcoming me here.
Right.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome. And as a psychiatrist, what does your work entail whilst you're working here?
Okay. Working for Central Newfoundland Health Authority, my work is subdivided in components. I don't know if I have enough time to do all these details. Yeah. My main focus is on FACT team, which stands for Flexible Assertive Community Treatment Team, where we deal with persistent and chronic mental illness. I also have an outpatient clinic where I see all the referrals sent to me throughout the region. I also cover the hospital for inpatient and emergency. That's basically what I do. Now, I don't know if I have the time to talk about the teamwork.
Yeah, we would be really interested in finding out what FACT is and who are the other specialists that are involved in that team.
Okay. And it's actually a multidisciplinary team aimed at improving the quality of care for patients. The team is composed of nurses, social workers, occupational therapists, and addiction counselor, and of course me as the psychiatrist. So it's really an exciting field, and it really makes a big difference to know that these people who normally could have been left on their own have been taken care by the government in such type of structured manner.
Okay. Thank you so much for that explanation. So who does the actual assessment of a patient within this team?
As I said, it's a multidisciplinary approach. I do the psychiatric assessment, but the rest of the team will assess the patient needs in different areas, psychological, social, and we go to the extent of finding housing and supporting the patient in all the areas of their needs.
Very holistic. So how has your academic training background prepared you for this kind of work?
Okay. I really like the field. I was trained initially, I was born in Republic Democratic of Congo. I was trained there. I did my medical degree there, studying in French. And then, because I was interested in psychiatry, I did neuropsychiatry. I got a degree in neuropsychiatry from Congo, and then after a few years of work, I moved to South Africa. And when I went there, my specialty was not recognized. I had to redo again through the University of the Witwatersrand and write all the South African exams to be board certified. And it is from there that I was recruited by the Central Newfoundland Provincial Authority to come and join the team here.
All right. So what motivated you to accept that recruitment offer to come here?
Okay. There was a recruiting agency that was based in London. Initially, they offered me the UK and Australia, but I didn't like. I just told them, okay, maybe if it was Canada, I could have accepted. And then a week later, the recruiter came back and said, no, we are opening an office in Toronto. And that is how he took my CV and he got me that position in Central. I had to do an interview, a telephone interview before coming. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew it was Canada. Okay. So I accepted the offer and they paid everything from my travel expenses, even the relocation with my family. Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't know where you were going, but what happened when you arrived?
Okay, it's really an interesting question because I arrived during that weekend of labor. Okay, so everything was closed. I just got some from my email correspondence that they booked a vehicle for me, a rented car. So I drove from Genda to Grand Falls. I went to the hospital as directed by the email, and I was given a key to an apartment. So it's only on Tuesday that I happened to meet the medical director and everything started there. So to go back to your question, for me, it was just a surprise, you know. I didn't know what to expect. Yeah.
Okay, but then, so the next day, of course, which was, because it was a Labor Day weekend, the next day you had to start work.
Yeah, I mean, they were very kind, I must say. They were very, very kind. They took me to different offices to get a SIN number, to get a MCP number, and all those things. So that was the medical director herself who took me around, and that I found it very, very special because not everywhere you go, people will go out of their way to accommodate you.
So you had practiced in South Africa prior to coming to Canada. How different was that from the way it's done here?
Okay, I must say that in general, it's all the same, but also different. All the same in terms of the pathology, the presentation of the patient, but different in the sense that here you need to take into account the culture. You need to take into account also the environment. So those are things you learn as you go. You get, of course, during your orientation period, they tell you exactly what to expect, but there are different things you discover on a day-to-day basis. But in general, I wouldn't say that it's different because the management of patient is the same. The only thing I found very, very interesting was that integrated model I found in FACT team. So each member we support each other. Yeah.
And that makes it better for the patients as well, right? Human beings are basically the same all around the world, and the way you manage them might be very similar as well. So what year did you start here?
I came here in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So as I said, during that labor weekend, that's when I arrived. And since then, I've been here. And when people ask me, how many years have you been here? I tell them 11 winters.
You count them by the winters?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So did you have to go through a training again, like you did when you moved from the Democratic Republic of Congo to South Africa, when you arrived here?
No, because according to the regulation, I mean, the colleges, there are 6 countries that the training is acknowledged or recognized here. It's Canada, of course, the US, the UK, Australia, South Africa, and I think New Zealand. So in terms of clinical training, I didn't have to redo that here because I had enough experience for, yeah.
Okay, well, that's wonderful, because I know a number of people come and they have to retrain prior to working in any of the hospitals. So that was great. But then you had to just learn the culture and the way things were done here. Okay.
Yeah. And I must say, I mean, when people ask me, they say, how is the place? I say, the place is cold, but the people are warm.
Yes.
And I'm used now to the cold, actually, yeah.
Right. But you still think of it as 11 winters?
Yes, as a joke. For me,
Yes.
it becomes a joke, and that I can tell you, my wife doesn't tolerate heat anymore.
Oh, since you moved from South Africa here? Yeah.
She, when it's 15 degrees, she's fine.
Okay.
So, I keep reminding her I was born in Africa.
So you're the one who feels the cold
a little,
more?
yeah,
right.
but I get warm. I dress warmly in layers.
Yes. Yeah, that's the way they say you have to do it. I do the same thing as well. We go in layers so that you don't let the cold stop you from going out and doing what you have to do. So is there any aspect of your work that you maybe enjoy the most or you find most satisfying?
The people. Really, the people. If I talk about my team, it becomes like a family, and you can see that they appreciate you and you can rely on them, yeah. It's really fantastic, yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll find out some more about you. Sharing Our Cultures will be right back. Welcome back to Sharing Our Cultures and continuing our conversation with Dr. Selemani. Now, we've heard a bit about your work, and you are such a busy doctor out there, psychiatrist out there, and yet you have time to volunteer. So tell me about your volunteer activities.
Okay, I must say that being here has allowed me to have a lot of time, I must say, because, look, in South Africa, I had a very, very busy schedule driving around the city for hours, going from one hospital to the other. Here, I found it a little bit more balanced, short distances from my home to the shop, to the church, and so first of all, I must say that I was, for the first 2 years, I didn't know who was clearing my driveway. I didn't have a snowblower. I just woke up in the morning and I saw the snow gone. I didn't know who to really thank for 2 years. And then I started getting involved in the church. And there, I didn't even ask for it. They put my name for nomination, and I was elected by 100%. I mean, if I was a politician, I could have said 100% of people voted for me to be a church board member. And this is a voluntary position where you deal with a lot of things. It's like an extension of my work. Yeah.
All right. So, and you also volunteer with another organization?
Yeah, that is Réseau de Santé pour Terre-Neuve. It's the French-speaking network of health professionals. I don't know how they managed to contact me, but anyway, they knew that I was bilingual, I could speak French, and wanted to know if I would be interested in that. So I joined them. The first meeting we had was here in St. John's, and that is how they established the network. It consists of helping those French-speaking patients who would find a language barrier when they come to health institutions. Yeah.
Was that primarily for Grand Falls, Windsor, or was it
No,
throughout
no,
the
no, no.
province?
It's for the whole province of Newfoundland. And I even remember the organizers, sometimes they refer to some of these topic we need to deal with that. So, yeah.
Okay. So I'm thinking now about, you came in 2011. We hear about a lot of doctors, particularly in smaller areas or rural towns, who leave after a short period of time. What has kept you here?
This is really an interesting question. The first thing was I discovered after so many years that you can have a balanced life being a busy person. Johannesburg is a very, very busy city. That is where I practiced for 20 years. And that difference, it's really striking to me. That's one thing. The other thing is my children, the last two, they managed to find love here. So they call this a home. So I don't have any reason to leave. And whenever I want to change environment, I can travel. Unfortunately, COVID came and broke all the records we can imagine. Yeah.
Right, okay. So that's really happy to know that you will stay, and you've stayed this long anyway, so you're not going anywhere. They've found love here. I think that's a good
Yes,
reason.
and
Yeah.
I've become a Canadian citizen.
Oh, congratulations.
So,
Right, so
yeah.
this is home now for
Yeah,
you.
for me it's a home, yeah.
Well, we know that lately there's been a lot of issues around mental health, particularly maybe for young people. And with Shana Culture as well, our focus is on youth, especially school children and youth. What would you advise in a way that could maybe help them somehow? Like, how do they seek help? Like, what from your own professional background do you think we could help?
Okay.
with?
First of all, I have to appreciate what the government is doing, trying to destigmatize mental health, because one of the biggest barriers is that people say, oh, he's crazy, so they wouldn't come even if they have real problems that can be easily solved. So my advice to them would be, speak out, come for help. It's always important, because the youth is the future of tomorrow. And by helping the youth, we are helping the future of the country.
And how do you feel that there would be sort of sufficient help for them?
Okay. By involving all the layers of the community, starting from the school, because that is where they go first, and problems can be easily identified at the school level and refer to the appropriate channels of help. And the other thing is also the family nucleus, because that also is very important. My advice to them is this: the government has put enough resources. Don't refrain yourself from coming. We are here for that, and we've been paid to just do that.
Thank you. It's great to hear your perspective on that. I always think about the young people in school and thinking of their career goals, and you've been successful in yours. What advice would you have for them if they're thinking, oh, maybe one day I want to be like Dr. Selemani and be a psychiatrist? What would you advise them?
The one thing I advise them is to be consistent and diligent in what they are doing. Because consistency is the key to breakthrough. There's nothing really easy in life. Even cleaning is not easy if you don't apply your mind. So it's important for them to know that every effort can be rewarded one day. I wouldn't say that this is easy to become a psychiatrist, but I can testify to the fact that it's not impossible. Nobody was born with experience. So, and to quote somebody, they say, you know, genius is 5% of intelligence and 95% of hard work.
Okay, so a lot of hard work and I think support as well, maybe in the community somehow to help them.
The support comes to the picture to try and help you mobilize the inner strength you have. Yeah.
And how would they build that inner strength? What can they do to build that? Especially when I think of the young people that we at China Cultures work with. Some of them have been in violent conflicts or war-related situations where they've been traumatized, and then they're coping with school and the content and maybe learning English as an additional language.
Yeah, they need to know that the past shouldn't prevent them from going forward. What you say is very relevant. Trauma, conflict, and all the adverse event can make you feel inferior. But if you get people, mentors, who can help you build your self-esteem, make you feel that you count, and you are able to achieve what other people have done, it's very, very important. Yeah.
And if they do need help, to seek that help.
Yes, it's important. And that is where the school board, the counseling is important. Of course, when language becomes a barrier, you need to focus first in learning the language to be able to express yourself and express your need. And expand your wings. Not just stay within the nuclear family. You need to expand your wings.
Yeah, and that's why we sort of provide opportunities for them to interact with others and community as well, to be able to expand their wings, as you say. I like that phrase. I'll use that as often as I can with them. Yeah, so anything else you'd like to say? Because we're just going to wind down our conversation.
There are a lot of things one can say, but I must just stress one thing. Canada is a country of opportunity. And unless you take that opportunity, you won't be able to do anything about what is there. And I see that not only for those who are coming, but even for the youth, the current youth, where people will say, no, I don't want to go to school. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. I'm so glad that you came here and we had this conversation together, and I'm sure many people will benefit from it and value your presence here and your work here in the province. Thank you so much.
Thank you also for the opportunity. I didn't know what to expect, but thank you nonetheless.
Okay then, thank you. Sharing Our Cultures, we'll be right back. Thanks to Dr. Selemani and to you for watching. Join us again next time and meet more remarkable people from around the world who are making a difference in our communities.